Continuing with this series, where we are discussing the different types of charts offered by Looker Studio, today we will see another interesting chart, the bullet chart. This chart allows us to display a summarized metric against certain ranges. Its operation is very similar to the gauge chart we saw in the previous class. Let's take a look. You already know our usual process. We go to Add a Chart, select the bullet chart, and drag it to our report. I'm going to drag it here, and let's see what function it serves. First, let's change the metric that it brought by default. I don't want this metric, so I'll set another one. Views. Perfect. Now, what does this chart allow us to do? This chart will let us see the total views. In the background, we will have a series of ranges that will show the achievement of specific objectives, very similar to what we did in the previous class. This includes not only the target, but also the ranges from the lower to the upper limit. So, what is this used for? I will show you. For example, if we analyze the total of our metric by hovering over the chart, it indicates that it is 442,590. Now, I will set a target for this metric over a specific period. Let's assume the target is 300,000. Notice that the setup is practically the same as what we did in the gauge chart from the previous class. I will add my target of 300,000. Now I'll establish some range limits that will allow us to identify a series of critical points. I'll set the first one at 75,000. Let's see how it adjusts. We already have the first one. Now, let's configure the second one. I want my second range to be closer to the target of 300,000. Therefore, I will set it to 250,000. And finally, I need to set the upper range where the metric exceeds the target. And passing it would be significant, or indicate that the target is being exceeded. For this case, I will set it to 400,000 views for this period. Now, notice how the chart is configured. First, in the shaded area, we have that critical range we defined. Second, there is the intermediate range, which goes up to 250,000. And finally, we have the upper range at 400,000. We can also see the target cut at 300,000. And from there, we can measure how well the target has been met. This chart, like the others, can be styled. You can change the colors to improve visibility and get a better perspective. However, its fundamental use is to track metrics and compare them to the target and the critical ranges we have defined.